Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be talking about the Phoenix Suns again. I made a video about them last week, but things are getting worse and worse, and I feel like I want to make a better video than that. So today, we're going to talk more about the Phoenix Suns and really what is going on, what problems they're going through here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So, Phoenix Suns. Again, I made a video about them last week, where I was just talking about how confused I was with this team. And so, the last few games that they've had, I've really tried to lock in to the Phoenix Suns and really watch and really see what is the problem. Why are they being so bad? Is it just the injuries? Is it just that their big three can't get it? Hasn't been healthy? Is it like what is it really? And so far they're 2-8 in their last 10 games. They've dropped to 16-19. They're 12th in the Western Conference right now. Things are going pretty bad over there. They just made a big move, moving Bradley Beal and Yusuf Nurkic to the bench, which has been in effect the last 2 games. Put Ryan Dunn, Mason Plumlee in the starting lineup, and that they're fully healthy. The big three is healthy. Devin Booker's back. KD and Beal are all playing. The only guy they're missing right now is Royce O'Neal, but they're relatively healthy. And watching these last few games and really locking in, I feel like there's a multitude of problems with this Phoenix Suns team. Um, it's just what one of the bigger things I feel like with this Suns team is they lack energy. And follow me on this. Walk with me. I a lot of times I feel like when I talk about players, I talk about teams. One thing I bring up is energy. Like he has good energy or they have good energy. Like bring energy when he's on the court. Meaning like it just means kind of like activity, a want, coming into the game and it gives you a different type of feeling. You know what I mean? Like you feel like, oh, this dude is really out here trying. This dude is really out here making these plays. Just having an energy and a flow on the court as a team. Not only just individual players, but as a team, I feel like really helps you a lot. Like you probably maybe have heard this saying once or twice before, but the ball finds energy. Like which means if you're really trying, you're really competing out there, the ball will find you and things will go your way. When I watch this Phoenix Suns team, I don't feel energy from them. I don't feel a energy. I don't feel a want. I don't feel a desire. I just feel like they kind of go out there and they're just five guys trying to play basketball. I don't feel like an energy with them, which was one of the bigger problems that I had last year with the Phoenix Suns team. And I feel like a lot of the problems that they have this year are kind of very basically the same as last year's team, where they just don't have a desperation or a lack of or a sense of kind of energy through them. Like last year in the Phoenix Suns series, in their first round series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, they got swept in the entire all 4 games of that series. As soon as Minnesota went up 10 or 12, you basically called the game right there. Called the game over. Because Phoenix, we knew wasn't coming back because they just didn't have energy for it. And they still kind of have it now in a couple games where it's like they go down or they start losing and it's just like everything just starts to unravel. They don't have a fight or desperation to be like, okay, we got to win this game. Like they kind of just crumble a little bit. And even not even just the fourth quarter, throughout the entirety of the game, just feels like they don't have a lot of energy or a lack or a sense of like want and desperation. Um, and that's a big problem, especially for a team that wants to go out and compete. I'm saying all this about the Phoenix Suns with expectations of a very high. Like we all know this Phoenix Suns team, they want to win. They want to win a championship. They brought in Kevin Durant for this. They brought in Bradley Beal for this. They have a new owner, Matt Ishbia and James Jones. They have been very vocal since they've come in about wanting to win, not caring about draft picks, not caring about second April, any of that. As long as we can win a championship, it doesn't matter to them. And the product and the team that we're seeing out there on the court is nowhere near a championship contender right now. Last night's game against the Charlotte Hornets was kind of like a deal breaker for me. Last night's game against the Hornets, I really watched this game because honestly, I was going to talk about this the game before against the 76ers, but they ended up winning that game after being down very early. They had a bad start, but they found a way to come back. Bradley Beal had a really good game off the bench. They came back and won that game. So I was like, okay, that Charlotte Hornets game last night was just it was bad. It was bad. The second quarter, they got outscored 37-17 in the second quarter. 37-17 by the Charlotte Hornets. And that second quarter, LaMelo Ball didn't really. I mean, LaMelo had what, 10 points after that? Like Miles Bridges, Josh Green, Brandon Miller, Nick Richards. And then that quarter, they shot 7 for 28. They went over 10 from three. It was bad. Go to the third quarter, they try to come back. And the fourth quarter was just another kind of bad quarter for them, you know? Um, so many times, the defense has been very bad. Defense has been very bad. It started the year off decent. It was solid, but I feel like as the years gone on, it's just been unraveling and unraveling and unraveling. Just so many different defensive miscommunications. Transition defense has been horrible, especially in a game against the Hornets in that fourth quarter when you're down 8 or 10, and guys just not getting back, missing assignments, guys getting wide open dunks. Coming down in transition, one pass, two pass, wide open 3-pointer. Like just easy things. Like the Hornets just were getting so many easy shots in this game, just off of cuts, off of transition, off of just someone LaMelo drives, kick out, one more kick out, wide open 3-pointer. Just so easy, simple. Even the last possessions of the game, the last 2, 3 minutes, when the Hornets offense was horrible. The Hornets offense was literally just dribble, dribble, dribble for 20 seconds and then find a 3-point shooter. You know, at one point the Suns were trying to double team at the top of the key, and LaMelo would just or Brandon Miller would be at the top of the key and just make a pass down low, or LaMelo and Miles Bridges would be at the top of the key, and they just found Brandon Miller wide open in the corner because Suns came up to double team, and no one even cared about the backside, the back cut or anything. And Brandon Miller had back to back like wide open corner threes. Yusuf Nurkic has come off the bench now. He's been horrible. I'm sorry, he's been horrible. Yusuf Nurkic has been horrible this year. There's just yeah, there's so many times on the court where it's just like, man, like he can't really. He's either in foul trouble, he can't guard in the perimeter or in the interior. He can't score consistently. He tries to do too much. He makes a lot of passes and has too many turnovers for a big man. It's just tough for that. Um, I think another thing they lack on this roster is a lot of like energy 3-and-D wings, Like guys like Dorian Finney-Smith esque. When you think of what I'm saying, think of that type of mold of player. Like Dorian Finney-Smith is gonna come out and give you toughness, defense, while also hitting some shots in the offense. And like guys like that, they're missing a lot of guys like that. Royce O'Neal has been great at that. Royce O'Neal has been one of my favorite players of the Phoenix Suns this year because he's been providing that. But after that, like they have like Ryan Dunn. Ryan Dunn starts now, which I think is a solid move. He's amazing defensively, brings energy. It's just he's in nothing on the offensive end right now. Like the first month of the year, he was hitting threes like crazy. It was like, whoa, we couldn't make an argument. He was rookie of the year at that point. Since then, he's like a 30% 3-point shooter now. Josh Okogie literally is only in the NBA right now because of his energy and his hustle and the effort he gives. But it's just he's not amazing. You can't play him too much because he's in nothing on the offensive end. He doesn't bring you anything on offense. So it's basically like playing 4-on-5. So it's tough. And then you have like, yeah, Grayson Allen has just not been the same shooter last year to this year. He's putting the ball on the floor sometimes, and it's just not really working like that. Monte Morris has been decent. He's a solid point guard, but he's not really providing a whole lot of offense for you. Like Josh Okogie is averaging more points than Monte Morris. Mason Plumlee, I like what Mason Plumlee does. He rebounds well. He's gonna bring effort, defense, effort, and all this stuff. But is Mason Plumlee a starting center in 2025? I don't think so. Tyus Jones has been solid. Oso Gardaro is giving you good minutes when he does play. But again, is he a starting center in 2025? No. So it's just tough. And then the big three, Bradley Beal, first game off the bench was good. Last night was not good. And it's just we got to come to the fact, Bradley Beal. There's a lot of times yesterday when I was really locked in on that Charlotte Hornets game. There's a lot of times where I watched Bradley Beal where I don't want to say he looks checked out, but there's a lot of times where I feel like he's just not really 100% there. Like there's so many times I watch him just kind of jog back on defense, offense kind of just standing in the corner waiting for him to get the ball. when he does get the ball in the offensive end, he's not the same Washington Wizards Bradley Beal as he was before. It's tough. He hasn't just not been what they've needed and what they wanted, you know. And they took a shot, they took a risk trading for Bradley Beal 2 years ago. It hasn't worked. And now with all the Jimmy Butler news, you know, he has a no trade clause, and the trade might not get done because Miami doesn't want Bradley Beal. Because who really does want Bradley Beal? At this point, not saying that he's not a good player, that he's like bad or anything like that. But the contract, you know, the contract of Bradley Beal, the contract of what he's giving of the contract that he has compared to what he's giving you right now doesn't equate to each other. So it's just tough to trade for Bradley Beal. And the Suns just put themselves in this kind of hole where they can't really make any moves besides trading Bradley Beal for Jimmy Butler. That's really the only move they can make. They already have so much money tied into this top three, you know, and all the rest of these guys are just on like 1 year, either rookie deals or 1 year minimum contracts, which I thought, you know, coming into this season, you know, last year with the Phoenix Suns, I started off high. Of course, everybody thought they were going to be one of the top teams in the West last year. Injuries happened. They fell, and then at one point I kind of just gave up and I was like, whatever. And they went to the playoffs. They got swept. It was embarrassing. This offseason, they make the move for Boonholzer. They make a lot of good free agency moves like Tyus Jones, Mason Plumlee. I thought were like really good moves. They made really good draft picks and Ryan down to Oso Godaro. And I kind of talked myself back into this Phoenix Suns team of being like, hey, this team could be really good. I had them, I think, projected like a top 5 seed in the West. And then after the start they had, the 8-1 start, I was dang near calling them contenders. I was like, this team is a contender. This is the Suns we wanted. This is the team we were waiting for. And since that happened, things have just been falling and falling and falling and falling and falling. And now we're kind of here, where we're 3 games under 500 in January. We just lost to a Charlotte Hornets team that hasn't won a game in what it feels like 3 years. And it's just like, man, what do we do? Where do we go from here? Like they're just not good enough. And I tweeted yesterday, but I finally like I'm out on the Phoenix Suns. I'm out. Like I'm not believing in this team for the rest of the year. I'm not putting my chips in the table for them. They're I'm out. You know, after that game last night, that sealed the deal for me. Like watching the effort they put on down by like 8 in the fourth quarter to a Charlotte Hornets team when you know you're struggling, you know you need these wins in the Western Conference to get back into the play-in, and you know animosity's coming around at your door. Bradley Beal coming off the bench now, he's saying I hold all the cards, like all this stuff going down, and just kind of they falter at it. Like Kevin Durant also, I feel like that just hasn't. Like Kevin Durant had 26 points in this game. It did not feel like that at all. Like it didn't feel like that at all. Maybe the third quarter he turned up a little bit. Fourth quarter he took 3 shots. Ryan Dunn took double the amount of shots that Kevin Durant did in the fourth quarter. That's unacceptable. Like I know the game plan and the scheme is like if you want anybody on the Suns to take a shot between the lineup of Booker, Durant, Beal, Dunn, and like Mason Plumlee, it's gonna be Ryan Dunn taking those shots. But at the end of the day, you are Kevin. That's Kevin Durant. I don't care who's on you. I don't care what the situation is. Taking 3 shots in the fourth quarter and Ryan Dunn taking 6 is unacceptable to me at least. And there's a lot of times he was just standing around, standing in the corner. Even the last couple of possessions of the game where they were trying to give a fake effort to come back, he wasn't even like trying to double like defense or anything. He was just kind of standing in the corner of his man, just looking around, being like, "All right, what's gonna happen here?" You know. I mean, at least Devin Booker was trying. I mean, Devin Booker dropped 39, 6, and 10. You know, he had a great start to this game. 21 in the first half, 13 in the third quarter. Shots were not falling in the fourth quarter for them, for him. But it's like, man, this team is kind of just like. And then you had that clip of during the Indiana Pacers game where they lost that game, where they're all smiling on the bench. Just things are going bad in Phoenix right now, and there's not really any other avenues you could take to kind of change except making the Bradley Beal for Jimmy Butler swap. Is really the only way you can really kind of try to salvage this. And even then, is Jimmy Butler coming to this team and making this team a whole lot better? Maybe he does. Who knows? Maybe he does. Um, but things are going pretty bad right now, Phoenix. Multiple games under 500. 12th in the West. I mean, they're gonna have to go on like a 3-4 game winning streak just to make it back into like the top 8 in the West because above them you have Sacramento is starting to get better. They won 5 of their last 6 games. Golden State, I guess, is whatever. San Antonio is a team that can win on every single night. Minnesota is still a team you have to kind of respect and is going to win every single night. The Clippers are good, and Kawhi Leonard's back. The Lakers are, a solid team out in the West. Like it's going to take a lot to climb back. You're gonna have to go. You have to win a lot more than you lose, and I just don't know when that's going to happen. I mean, obviously they can always just flip a switch, and maybe things are going to turn around and get better. But in terms of them being a contender, which is what they want to be, a contender that wins a championship, they're not there right now. They're nowhere. They're not there. Not there. And I'm gonna bring up usually the next conversation I'm gonna have. Usually I talk about this at the end of the season. I have a series at the end of every season I do on my channel called The Look-In, where after every team is eliminated from the playoffs or doesn't make the playoffs or whatever, I look at their team, look at the future, and be like, all right, what's next? Like, what moves should they make? What direction are they gonna go in? What's gonna happen? So I feel like this will be a better conversation for the end of the season, and I'm gonna get way more into it at the end of the year, wherever they end up. If they, whether it's you know, losing out in the play-in or making the playoffs and losing to like the Thunder as an 8 seed or whatever. But what do you do next? What's the next move? Let's say you do go the rest of the year, you end up as like a 9 seed, make the plan, maybe you sneak out a win or two wins, and you have to play against the OKC Thunder in the first round. Yeah, good luck with that. And you lose in like 5 or 4. What do you do next? Back to back first round exits, back to back, like, not even like close competitive, like back to back potential sweeps in the first round. What do you do if you're Matt Ishbia and James Jones? What do you do? Do you trade Bradley Beal, try to get someone else, and see if the Durant Booker duo with a bunch of role players makes it work? Do you just try to run it back again and be like, you know what? Like, let's just see what we can do again, which I think is the last option. I don't think you can run it back if that happens. And also, not even just the GMs. What about Kevin? What does Kevin Durant feel like? Because we all know that Kevin Durant, when you know when things are not going well and the team is breaking down and you're not winning, we all know that Kevin Durant is very, very okay with coming out and being like, "Hey, yeah, this isn't what I wanted. Bye." Like we all know Kevin Durant is not like it's not a problem for Kevin Durant to come out when things are not going well and say, "Hey, yeah, so I'm gonna get out of here. I want to go to I don't know Houston or Golden State or whatever. I'm trying to go over there. So yeah, peace." Like we all know Kevin Durant will not hesitate to do that. So what's stopping Kevin Durant from after this year if the years goes like how it's gonna go? What is stopping Kevin Durant from coming out and requesting a trade again? Which honestly I wouldn't really mind it. I wouldn't mind seeing Kevin Durant leave Phoenix. I don't think it's been amazing since he's got to Phoenix. You know, so what's the next step for the Phoenix Suns? Are they kind of just stuck in this hole where no one's gonna trade for Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant wants out, and we're just kind of stuck in this real limbo again, where it's just Devin Booker and a bunch of guys? Like again, I think this conversation will be a lot better for the end of the season and after things go, like, we can really see what's going on around the NBA. But it's just the Phoenix Suns are in trouble, man. There's big problems going on over there. Things are not going well, and I just don't know what fixes this. I really don't know, and it's gonna suck that the Phoenix Suns, a team that just got back into like being good and being a contender again for the first time in a very long time, is kind of going down another dark path again. But yeah, it's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it a whole lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.